Hey and welcome, Miss Kara Speaks. Listen, I don't know what y'all fixing to get. I know the thumbnail says reaction, but you may get a reaction, you may get a little bit of a recap. We gonna see what it do. So as you know, the boys and I went to see Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Me and the little one, we had our little Black Panther gear on, courtesy of Target. My 14-year-old was not playing those games. He said, you're gonna get this all black and it gonna do what it do. So long story, we got there a little bit late, missed all the previews. Was kind of bummed out about that. But honestly, I like to get there for the previews, to see their previews, but also because Miss Jerry taught me that you get there, you open all your little noisy snacks first. So, your candies, anything that's going to make noise, your straw wrappers, you open that up prior to the movie so you don't interrupt people in the movie. Just a little etiquette lesson. And snacks we did have. So, of course, I had to get the little Okoye cup and the little popcorn bin. Got Shuri, got Okoye. Had to do it. I think I still have my bin from the first Black Panther movie. Now, your girl typically doesn't do movies. I'm far too long-winded. I'm far too detail-oriented. So typically I just kind of stray away from that. When I got to the movie, within the first 10 to 15 minutes, I think that's when I made the decision that I might have to come on here and tell you guys how I feel. And initially when I got home, I wanted to come home and do like a first reaction, but I was so deep into my emotions that I needed a breath. I needed a breather. I needed to collect my thoughts, my mind and everything. And it's just what it was. I had mixed feelings about the movie to begin with. And I walked out having mixed feelings also. I had mixed feelings because of the death of Chadwick. It hit us very, very hard. It was very emotional. The first film was very much celebratory. African pride, all of that and whatnot. And I'm not saying that this one wasn't, but there was definitely a different feeling going into it. As you guys know, if you watch my videos, my boys are big into superheroes. DC, Marvel, it don't matter. We going to see it regardless. And so we did. Get into the movie. In the opening, we get right to the business. Shuri, she's racing around frantically. She's losing her brother. Losing her brother from what? Child, we don't know. Some type of illness, I would assume, is what they're going to say, which I thought Wakanda had all the technology, but we're marrying Chadwick and T'Challa, and this is what we're doing. So she's racing around. I know she tried to recreate that heart herb that in the first movie Killmonger destroyed when he became the Black Panther. And, she's just trying to do what she can. Somebody's like, you might want to have your last moments with your brother. His heart rate's dropping. She don't want to hear that. Black girl magic. She got to get it done. She don't get it done. And Queen Ramonda comes in to tell her that he's with the ancestors. At this moment, I could feel my chest getting heavy, and I knew it was going to be a problem. So they have a funeral. Everybody is dressed beautifully, I might say, in all white. Absolutely stunning. There's a mural of Chadwick. I start to lose it. Okay. They're like, carry his coffin. Okoye, she ain't holding it together. Shuri, she's like, and when she's on that coffin, I am breaking down, like starting to break down. My heart hurt so bad for her. So like they go through the village, I guess, of Wakanda. We'll just say they say their goodbyes, but I bawled and I sobbed and I physically had to cover my mouth because I didn't want to be in the movie theater loud crying at the beginning of the movie and people looking at me because there wasn't that much emotion in the movie theater. Somebody was yelling at their kid, but there was no emotion in terms of the tears. And I knew that they were going to address it, and I didn't know how they were going to address it or honestly how I wanted to address them, but it stung. This was everything I didn't want it to be. Like, I knew it would be this way, and in first 10-15 minutes of the movie, and like I said, that's when I decided to just come on here and talk about it. And like I said, I will quickly try to recap and go through the movie and give you like the highlights and my my thoughts. But it just, and might I add, at the funeral there were no Avengers. That's messed up. But it broke me. I mean, I didn't know the man, but it, whew. And here is where my notes get a little shaky. So I have in my notes that Angela Bassett, you know, her acting is always phenomenal, top tier. Her wardrobe, her presence, you know, she's given us Queen Mother, definitely, for sure. Even no more locks. She has her, you know, white natural hair. And I was like, why my grays don't be graying like that? Because she looks absolutely gorgeous. So she's at, I think, the UN nations. Don't really have notes about this because, like I said, I was still in my feelings. Like, am I going to say something? Am I going to do a review? Move on with the Kira. So they're at the United Nations, and in the first movie, T'Challa promised the world to basically share the technology, share the vibranium, and they want the damn vibranium. They're also worried that it's not detected in like metal detectors, so it's dangerous. And Queen Ramonda was like, listen, we've had this vibranium for umpteen years, not a problem. What worries me though is you people. Yes, you people. As all of this is going on, we're at one of the locations where the vibranium is supposed to be. We see some what looks to be American soldiers, I guess you want to call them, break in, and they're like, run the vibranium. I said, oh, Americans, white Americans. We'll say white Americans because I don't want to say Americans making us look bad. So they're like, who can get in? Person gets in and they think they're going to get into the vibranium. But it's the Dora Milaje. They kicking butts and taking numbers. So back to the UN meeting. Queen Ramonda's like, and see here, y'all tried to steal our vibranium. So I done told you to go on, and I'm going to tell you to go on ahead now. Quit it. Mind your business. I wrote in my notes, y'all better leave the vibranium alone. We see Michaela Cole as part of the Dora Milaje now from I May Destroy You, if you didn't know. There was a scene on the TV a couple times of Anderson Cooper. Shout out to him. Yay. And then we kind of go over to, again, not a lot of notes, so we have to go off the memory. So there's some members of the military, we're going to say, and we see them doing a dive. You have people above ground, you have people below ground. Lo and behold, they're looking for vibranium. They F around and find what they're looking for. And homegirl sees an octopus, but the scene gets very crazy. So up aboard on the ships, you hear this sound. And I mean, it sounds like an ancestral alarm. And it took them out. They were walking to the ends of the boat and jumping off that ship. And I was like, that's what you get for not minding your business. They try to fight. The people from that are, you know, on the ground, they figure out what's going on. They protect their ears, but they don't make it. So we see Shuri, and she's grieving, and she's throwing herself into work. And Mama takes her off and is like, listen, she didn't want to go. But she's like, when he passed, she, I guess, walked till she couldn't walk no more. She got to the water. She did a ritual. She burned the garments that she was wearing at his funeral. And she felt his presence, blah, 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 blah. Shuri wants no part of the ritual. But while these two are there hashing it out, in comes Namor. So he tells them, listen, y'all went on TV and said that y'all have vibranium. Now the American folks is mining for vibranium, and they found it. And Queen is like, what you mean? There's only vibranium in Wakanda. Oh no, under the sea, there's vibranium there too. He says he stopped them. And he did. But he's basically like, listen, I need your help. I need you to locate this American scientist. Bring the scientist to me. We're going to kill two birds with one stone because you're threatening my people. I wrote in my notes, Queen had no idea there was vibranium outside of Wakanda. So she goes to meet with the council. We see M'Baku. I said, love him. Love Winston Duke. And you know the Jabari don't play. So I think part of the council wanted them to oblige, because they're like, we don't want them coming here, so just take the scientists and be done with it. And Baku was like, nah, because if we give them the scientists, then what else are they going to want? They're going to come back. It's not going to stop. Let's just take this dude out. And that's that. So we get a scene in the lab with Okoye and Shuri. And I believe Okoye spoke to the queen first to have Shuri help her. She didn't want Shuri to go nowhere. She said, Shuri got it. I got her. She got me. We good. They go talk to Ross. Ross tells them, oh, the detector, that's, you know, a young scientist. Like, it's a kid. And they were like, it's a kid. So they head on over to MIT, and we see a black girl. Okay. It's Miss Riri Williams to you. So now Okoye and Shuri are trying to figure out, like, what's the game plan. And Shuri's like, listen, let me go in and talk to her, because, you know, I can blend in more. You know, got the young face, and, you know, Okoye's bald-headed. So Okoye's like, she had to cover up her, you know, her, we'll call them tattoos. She had to cover them up. There's a whole little joke. And Shuri's like, nah, your Fenty number 275 is working, sis. Yeah, not so much. And this little situation they're calling the iPhone primitive. And I want to know, where's my Wakanda phone? Where's my Wakanda phone? Help me. Help a sister out. So like I said, Shuri, she's going to go talk to the girl. And like I said, I'm loving the black girl magic. Riri Williams. She gets there and she's like, oh my gosh, you're Princess Shuri. So she goes into her room. She thinks that Shuri is there to recruit her to bring her back to Wakanda. But oh no. So then she reveals to Shuri that she just did this as a school project just to say, you know, I can do it because we can do all these things. To be young, gifted, and black, she says. And I was like, oh, Chadwick, because, you know, Chadwick, it's not from Chadwick, but Chadwick did say that at one of the speeches where they won the award for Black Panther, and it just took me back. And I was like, y'all just gonna have me cry this whole movie, huh? Okay. Oh, and I meant to mention, you know, at the beginning of the movie when they run the Marvel credit, it was all pictures, no like nice happy music. All pictures of Chadwick fell into the Marvel letters, and I was like, you mother. So Shuri says something to her, you know, because she's happy that her as a young person, you know, she's doing the darn thing, because the elders don't always respect it. And she tells her, listen, you're not safe. You got to go. And she's like, I have a test. And she's like, nah, you're not safe. You got to go. And then Okoye comes in. And she's like, I told you, I got it. She's like, I told you 5 minutes. It's been 6. So Riri calls Okoye's head ashy. And I was like, we funny. So she goes over to her lair, which is like a car repair shop. And, you know, she's like, you know, she plans to get her stuff. She got her stuff, her laptop. They're like, you got your laptop unguarded? She says it's encrypted. She came to get her things so she could go. And I was just like, dang, look at her with all this, you know, technology and stuff. I don't know. This was like one of the super proud moments of the movie. So the feds come for them. So then she's like tearing her stuff down. Like, I done been through. And now y'all gonna come. Now the feds show up. It was funny. It was one of the lighter moments in the movie. And they show a suit. And my 14-year-old goes, Ironheart. Which was funny to me because when we were talking about Ironheart prior to the movie, he did not give a quack diddly oso. So I just thought that was cute. They gotta go. So Riri, she goes up and out through the ceiling. She got her suit on. Shuri's on a motorcycle. Okoye's in the car. And it's chase time. And as she goes through the ceilings and the feds bust in, they're like, dang, she got an Iron Man suit. So as they are having this major fight sequence, which is totally awesome, Riri goes after the drone to take it out, and she's got to go up to where the oxygen levels aren't safe, which made me think of Black Lightning. If you watch it, you'll know. If you don't, oh well. It's just an awesome fight scene. They kind of all crash. I think they crash on the bridge, and it's like an ocean explosion. And here comes Namor's people. What were they called? Let me look it up, because I had to go look it up, because all my notes, it was like Namor people, Talokan. So the Talokan, they come out. Shuri and Ree are down. Okoye, she is ready to go. So Namor's people 5-0 pulls up, Namor's people, Talokan, they take out 5-0. It's nothing. It's just a Tuesday. But don't play with Okoye, okay? Because that fight scene did not disappoint. But she had competition because she thought, she had him. She had a spear, he had a spear. She had vibranium, he had vibranium. And it was a couple of them. But, she thought she was going to get the best of them. But not so much this. So as Okoye goes in the water, Shuri's like back to life, back to reality all of a sudden now. She protects Ree, who's still down on the ground. And she agrees to go meet with, take me to your boss, where your boss at. So they're going to go see Namor. So then we go on over and we see Ross meets with, I call her Cruella, okay? Who we find out is his ex-wife. She's got her little purple stripe, which is why I call her Cruella. I think her real name in the movie was Val. Okoye, now she got to go back to the council with her tail between her legs, because I was looking at myself like, oh, you in the water and now Shuri's going and Ree's going, and girl, you in trouble now. So like I said, she's got to go to the council and explain to what happened. And you got to go in front of Queen Mother. She tells the council that she wants to go rescue Shuri, but the queen is done. And she's like, you not about to be a general no more. And at first I was like, dang, why are you going to Okoye like that? She's that girl. But then the council was trying to say that, she was basically ready to take her husband out, Blue Blanket, all over in the strength of Wakanda. And she's like, she can go visit her raggedy husband when she wants to. My kid is dead. But might I remind you that when Killmonger took over and we were hiding with the Jabari in the first movie, she was here with them. Oh, you forgot that? I done lost one kid. Now she done got my other one missing. I told her not to take her in the first place. So, poof, be gone. I ain't like it, but I had to respect it. So, Queen talks to Ross because she needs Nakia. She finds Nakia in Haiti. She started like a school, because I think she was the head mistress, and lots of kids. I'm sorry, my legs are like falling asleep. We find out, well, we knew she wasn't at the funeral, but we find out that Nakia been gone for 6 years, y'all. She's on it. Queen tells her, this is what I need you for. You are super spy, so go do what you do. So she's up, talking here, talking there, trying to find out what she can find out. And Nakia talks to somebody in Mexico. They tell her Namor has been there a long time before you and I. So Shuri wakes up. She's in I guess a cave under the sea. That just sounded so weird, so I just had to say it like that. And she goes alone to talk to Namor. And this is where we kind of get Namor's backstory. So Namor's mom was American. I think, was it the plague, the smallpox, something they got. The ancestors spoke to her, said, go down in the cave, get the plant. All I kept thinking was a heart-shaped herb. They did the same thing, ground it up. Mama didn't want to take it because she was pregnant with Namor. She was like, my baby, I don't know what that's going to do. Like, your baby's sick and you need to take this and your son will be king. So she takes it. It's kind of like they pass out. They wake up. They turn in blue. All of a sudden, they can't breathe the oxygen. But they supers. And I think Namor did say he's a mutant. Nod to the X-Men. So they get in the water, and this is where they live and they thrive. But now that he's the king and he has all these powers and these abilities, he does not age like everybody else. So he watches his mother grow old. She's sad. She misses life on the dry land. So when she passes away, I guess he promised to bury her. So he goes back to their homeland, and it's a bunch of slaves. He like, oh, hell no. So they were initially calling, because I think he even said to Shuri that his friends or his family call him Kolakan, and his enemies call him Namor. We calling him Namor, but I guess that's how you pronounce it. So like I said, it's slaves, blows the whole thing down. The guy says, IW Namor, which means child without love. And ever since then, he has hated the people on the land. Buries his mom. And like I said, that's how he got his name. And that's his origin story. Shuri, she pleads to take wirh with her back to Wakanda. He takes her to Talokan to see his people, and he's like, I have to protect my people. Like, I can't let this ride. I can't let her live. Nakia, she finds where she thinks Shuri is, and she goes back and she tells the queen. Shuri, she talks to Namor, and they're talking about loss. She's talking about the loss of her brother and not being able to save her brother. And he's like, you're going to be an ally or you're going to be an enemy. He wants Wakanda to help them wage a war on the world. He was like, when you were by the water, you said you wanted to burn it down. Help me burn it down. So Ross and Cruella, they're having some meeting with the government. They think it's all Wakanda. They want to strike. He's got the beads. So I'm not even sure. I don't even know if I have this in his notes, but he goes and gives them the jump and gives them the heads up and tells them what's going on. Queen, she goes to meet with Namor. She basically was saying that I guess she wasn't going to help him. Meanwhile, Shuri's telling Ree what Namor's plans are. Nakia comes from Shuri. I don't know how the heck she got down there. She uses some type of technology. She hits one of their people. She's down. Shuri wants to save her. Nakia's like, babe, we gotta go. So they basically leave the woman there to die. Shuri warns her that this means war. And then she's back with Queen and Ree. Namor finds the lady. It was the Wakandans. Can you save me? He can't. She dies. It is, in fact, war. So Nakia's sitting and she's talking to Shuri about T'Challa and how people saw him as a king, but that was her T'Challa. That was her boo. And it just hurt. She couldn't come back. But enough of that. They are under attack. Namor and his people, they flood Wakanda. Yikes. Namor comes and he punches M'Baku so hard I thought he caved his chest in, and I was upset. I was like, oh, we're not about to do him like that. So I said to myself, how are the Talokans more powerful than get your words together? How are the Talokan more powerful than the Wakandans when they have the same resource? Make it make sense. For my comic book people, if they've gone through it in the comics, please drop down below in the comments and let me know how. Make it make sense for me, please. So we get a huge fight scene, and when his people flood the city, he basically forces them away from, we'll call it the palace, command center, whatever you want to call it. Queen is still in the command center with Ree. She's not trying to hear it. So he tries to break the glass. His spear won't break the glass. He says, I got something for that ass. He goes and gets something, blasts the window, floods there. Shuri comes back, but it's too late. The queen is gone. She is face down in the water. They try to revive them. They bring back Ree. They do not bring back Queen Mother. At this point, this was my second breakdown in the movie theater, and I'm trying to think if right before they declared that she was dead, because M'Baku had to hold Shuri back because Shuri was not handling it too well, and Namor was talking cash shit before he left. Like, I told you, this is a warning. I will be back, the Terminator. Okay, so this is the second time that I cried and I was angry, and I think I said outside, I know you lying. I know you lying, and I'm laughing now, but it wasn't funny. And many people speculate that maybe Angela Bassett did not want to return to do any Marvel, movies. It could be a scheduling thing. It could be a Chadwick thing. We don't know what it is, but I'm hoping that this was her request and that they didn't just do us like that. It was really hard. And that's why when I came home, it was very hard to process because I already had to deal with losing T'Challa, which I already knew. And I wish they had handled it another way, but now you moving along. So we have another funeral scene. It's not as many people. We're dressed in all white again. Everybody looks beautiful. M'Baku, he comes through to talk to Shuri, and he tells her, he promised the brother, and basically she needs to grieve. He's supposed to be there to protect him. He says the elders came to talk to them. They basically want to leave and seek refuge with the Jabari. So the two of them talk it out, and Shuri is making life-changing decisions while I'm sitting in the movie theater in tears. Cruella meets with Ross, and it is revealed that she has bugged the doggone beads. So she is accusing Sir of treason. Ree and Shuri are back in the lab and they talk about the Black Panther. We're in Shuri's lab. Ree suggests because they're talking out the whole game plan. How can they take this guy down? He thrives off the water. They come up with, boom. Love to see the two black scientist girls together. They come up with, we're going to dry him out. He needs that water to revive him. So they get to work. Okoye is back. Yay! That didn't take very long. Sad that it took losing the queen to get her back. Michaela Cole, like I said, she's with Dora Milaje. I love seeing her in it. Her face is just so striking. Shuri, she's almost got that heart-shaped herb perfected. She decided to use whatever she had been trying to do before with the bracelet that she got from Namor when she was down in the water. She decides to use that, and I'm like, she's got it. And I put a question mark, and she's going to take the herb. She doesn't want to be buried in case something happens. So she takes the herb. She's ready to, they go off to the ancestral planes. She's like, Queen. Chair turns around. She sees Killmonger. Michael B. Jordan is back for you guys. How did you guys feel about that? Did you guys enjoy seeing him? For me, I guess this kind of confirms his death. So I was like 50-50 on it. Anyway, long story, he talks to her because she was like, I'm supposed to be at the ancestral planes. What are you doing here? This is some bullshit. And basically, he's like, I'm a warrior. You a warrior. I'm nothing like you. Yes, you are. Your brother was noble. Are you going to ride for the cause? Your mom was a G. You going to be a G like your mom. What you going to do? Get down and lay down. So she wakes up. She tells Nakia, I think it was Nakia and Ree, she ain't seen nothing. She ain't seen nothing. It's bullshit. It didn't work. She throws something. It cracks. Guess it did work. So she gets her Black Panther suit on and she goes over to the Jabari to pay M'Baku a visit, and her people are there because they're there seeking refuge. So then the two of them, they basically have an arm wrestling thing, and I'm like, I know she took the herb, but you just gonna let her beat M'Baku like that? Really? That's how we gonna do M'Baku? I wasn't with the shits, but he's like, oh, okay, it worked. We have the Black Panther back, I guess. So she asked the elders to speak to M'Baku alone. They leave, and the two of them, they have a long talk. They hash it out. She wants war. He doesn't, because it's like, it's never going to end. You take him down, and the people are just going to continue to try to avenge his death, and it's just not going to be pretty. So Nakia also tries to speak to her about, she's got the Black Panther suit on. They're ready to go to war. She asks her who she saw. She don't want to say. And she's like, doing it for vengeance, doing it for the wrong reason. That ain't it. But they are ready to go to war. Ree has created another one of these vibranium detection machines. And basically it creates a sound like that ancestral music earlier. And it lures the Talokan up to the surface. So they're on this big, huge ship. And we are ready to go. And we see Ironheart comes out with her new suit. Is all fresh to death because she's got all the vibranium technology at her fingertips. And it was another awesome major fight scene. Love to see it because you see in M'Baku, you got Okoye, you got Ironheart, you got Shuri, and they all just, trying to take these people down. We have to protect Wakanda, okay? So they think they won. They about to go back to Wakanda. Shuri has lured Namor into like this kind of chamber, but one of the Talokan destroys the emitter. So these people are a beast in water. So the ship is going down like the Titanic. She's got Namor off to the side. He's roasting like a raisin in the heat. You a little water, you a little thirsty, but she let him have his spear. So it's vibranium. Takes the spear, she gives the call to the desert, destroys it, but as it destroys, they come out on a desert for another fight scene. And do you believe that Shuri's a warrior or not, as we have thrown her into this Black Panther role? That is up to you, but Sir was definitely giving her that work. So as they're in the desert fighting, the Wakandans are on the ship fighting the Talokan. She gets one of his wings. I said, ouch. I have in my note for when Okoye was fighting. So whole movie, Shuri had been working on these suits because the people without the herb, they need protection. You're going to try to make them indestructible, kind of like the Black Panther suit, but better. Whole movie, Okoye hated it. So now she's standing there and I write that she looks like a tech predator. It was so funny to me. And then Namor spears Shuri. My emotions this whole movie. So Shuri, he's walking to go to the water because he needs to, get his energy back. She breaks the spear, pulls her body up off of it. She gets him down. She's over him. And then I was like, dream sequence? Because now we're kind of ancestral plane. We have a quick scene from the queen. And she basically says, show him who we are. And Shuri decides she's not going to kill this man. We don't go with vengeance. She tells them, I'm going to look out for you. You're going to look out for me. We're going to have each other's back. But you have to yield. You got to yield. I'm going to burn it all down. Which she might not have burned it all down, but she might have took him out. So he decides to yield. And I wrote in my notes, really? Because I was like, that's it. And at that point, I thought we had more left to the movie than what we had. And I was like, this not about to be good. Because I felt like he was going to come back and seek vengeance. But let's move on. So the two of them, they come up in some type of vessel. I don't know what this is. And you got Shuri on one side. You got Namor on the other side. And he tells his people to go home. And it's, we Wakanda forever. It's all good. They go back to where they came from. So we see them and they're rebuilding Wakanda. And it's time for Rhea to go home. And girl, we appreciate everything you've done. Your suit is amazing. But you can't take that suit with you, sis. But what they have managed to do is rebuild her car that was destroyed. That was something that her father, I guess, worked on or gave to her. So I wrote in my note that death affects me in a real way. If you guys are fans of Bondi Blue on YouTube, she does a really awesome job of trying to get us to make peace with the loss of the body, because the spirit will always be there. But that loss of the body is a lot for me. And I think for me as a parent, and then watching the queen and her kids and so on and so forth, it kind of hits me to the part where I'm not necessarily scared of death, but I'm petrified of leaving my kids before I get old enough to see them get to where they need to be and them have kids and be a grandmother and all of those great things. And to be in my later age, like I said, it's not just even about me and my achievements anymore. It's, I just really want to be there for my kids. But that's my tangent sidebar ramble. So we're at the ceremony, and I guess Shuri was supposed to show up, but M'Baku shows up and he wants to challenge. And I was like, is he challenging her for the throne, or is he there on her behalf? I was a little confused. I'm gonna have to go watch some other, I'm gonna have to go watch some other reviews. So Namor is he's back home, and I think he was speaking to Namora, and she was like, listen, I done fought beside you. I enjoy fighting beside you. And then you tell me to yield? Like, I'm confused. What's going on? So basically, he's trying to communicate to her that they think that Wakanda is responsible for all of this. Wakanda has no allies. So they're going to be Wakanda's allies because Wakanda needs them. And it's going to be a win-win situation for them in the end. And this was like, I felt like, maybe not in this movie, but if we do get another Black Panther movie, that potentially they could again be a threat to the Wakandans, catch them in a vulnerable position. Put down in the comments and let me know what you think. So Ross is arrested, I'm assuming for treason, but Okoye, she comes in her tech predator suit and she saves him. We see Shuri, she goes to visit Nakia. They're going to do the ritual. Nakia says, give her a minute. And she says she's going to do it by herself. So she goes by the water and the beach. And like I said, I was still nervous because I didn't realize the movie was about to be over. I said, oh my God, his name, we're going to come back. But she burns the garment. She feels the breeze, the feeling, the presence of T'Challa. We see more Chadwick scenes. She cries. I cry. She smiles. And that is where the movie ends. So then we get a mid-credit scene, which I took ill amount of notes on this because, like I said, I was trying to work through my emotions at this point because, again, we're crying again. So Nakia comes down to meet Shuri on the beach with the little boy. She introduces him. His name is Toussaint. He smiles. He's got a cute little dimple. And they sit and talk. And he's like, oh, you could keep a secret. But before that, Nakia reveals to Shuri that this is your nephew. The little boy's about 5-6 years now. Remember, Queen Ramonda said Nakia's been missing for 6 years. This is T'Challa's son. I don't think she quite says that, or she might. He knew about it. They wanted him to be raised in Haiti, to be protected. Didn't want the pressure of the crown and all those crazy things. So he stayed there. He didn't want them at the funeral, which is why they weren't at the funeral. I guess at this point, Shuri knew what it was, and she communicates to her that Shuri asked her, did the queen meet him? And Nakia says yes. The little boy says, my name is Toussaint, and that's my Haitian name. I think that's when he asked her, can she keep a secret? And he says his Wakanda name is T'Challa. What did you guys think about that? I don't know if that's the way I wanted to go. Let me just quickly go through what else I had in my notes. Love the beautiful black representation as per usual. I like Shuri wearing the suit. I don't know if I necessarily like the Black Panther, but I will tell you, I like Shuri with her natural hair and her fit build. My mouth decides it doesn't want to work for the girls of the world. Her representation, to me, is extremely important. It's important that we know all shapes, sizes, colors. We are important because when I was younger, I wasn't quite as small as Shuri. I was a little more top heavy, but I struggle with not wanting to be skinny, and look at me now. So I think that representation is really important, to see her in that position so black girls can feel good about themselves. Love me some Dora Milaje. So I had no problem with the issue that people took with it being too female focused, because I'm a woman. I hate the word female. I'm a woman and I love it. It was great to me. It wasn't perfect. It had flaws. Like I said, I was a little conflicted going in. I was a little conflicted coming out. I did want to initially have a recast T'Challa, but I said before, we done had 11 Batmans. We'd had like 3 Spider-Mans. So why couldn't we do it here? Do you guys think that it's now too late to introduce another Black Panther now that we have Shuri as the mantle, and we have Toussaint that's clearly going to be up and coming Black Panther or whatever? Drop it down in the comments and let me know about that. I typically do not rate things, but I'm going to give this a 7.5, 8. I'm not big into the comics. I'm not a comic book person. That's my brother and his sons. My 14-year-old is just getting into the comics, and I had considered having them come in and talk about it, but this would have been a whole different animal, and it's already too long. I'm gonna have to edit it down. Like I said, it had its flaws, but it's black. We feel how we feel. So if I were you, I advise you, please go out, please support it. I'm gonna end there. Check out some of my other content if you do so feel inclined. Thank you for coming through, and